Hey everyone, Scott from Wick Creative here, and as many of you know, we had Shopify Unite conference for 2021 this week. We got a lot of really cool new features and functionality coming out from Shopify, and I've been getting a lot of questions on what does this mean for us as a brand. What does it mean for the future of how we're going to work in and leverage Shopify's new features? And I wanted to go ahead and just walk you guys through what we're excited about from this. Not only what we're excited about, but also when you can get it, how you can use it, and how Wick Creative can help you take advantage of these new features. So we're just going to jump in. I'm going to be doing this off the cuff. I have a list, I guess, so not completely off the cuff. Plus I have short sleeves, so I don't really have cuffs. But we're going to go through the items here and look at them and really kind of explain what they mean and what you can expect from them. I haven't necessarily timed this out, but I would figure we'll be here about 15 minutes. And any questions, thoughts, concerns that you guys have on these items, definitely just hit us up. You can hit us up on Slack, email, wherever else, and we can talk you through what it might mean for you guys and what the opportunities are. All right, so I'm going to jump over to my screen here, and we're documenting this out. So some things that are going to be coming to you guys is additional documentation in Archbee of the items that you can see and that we'll be talking through. So first thing, what we want to talk through here is we have rolled up the new functionality for Online Store 2.0. This is going to be the biggest release here, is the Online Store 2.0. And first thing to talk about, and always for us, first thing to talk about is, when do you get it? When is this coming? So this is active right now for new development stores that are rolled up. Which the next thing is, well, yeah, but I have an active store, so who cares? What we have been told from Discord is that this is going to be coming to active stores at the end of July. So this is actually just fine. Some of the features we would be happy to roll up right away, but a lot of it is going to require some additional development. So that needs to be put into a dev store anyways, so that we can start working on it and getting it prepared. The downside is, if you already have dev stores coinciding with your install, maybe some Plus satellite stores that you're using, this won't go to those active development stores that are in your Plus satellite install will be getting these features at the same time as your production stores, which would be end of July again, as we're told. That's not 100% confirmed, so it could happen later, but we can confirm we do have it on new development stores we roll up. And what we're looking at here on the screen is going to be one of those new development stores that we've rolled up. So let's not bury the lead and go directly into what Online Store 2.0 means and why you should care. So I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to jump into the customizer. A lot of you guys know and have asked for features and functionality that pertains to this for a long time. We've also, as a brand, wanted this for a long time. It was initially announced at Unite, I think 3 years ago, that this feature was coming, and due to the complexity of it, it got rolled back and rolled back and rolled back, but now we have it. In mostly its complete form, so that's pretty great. And what it is on the homepage, as you guys know, we've always been able to add the functionality of drag, drop, multiple sections, section picker, blocks under sections. So you've had this amazing customization, which really, is a big part of why Shopify is the only platform that Wick Creative uses, is we're able to make it websites that are easy, fun, exciting, empowering to use, and are not the Magento big commerce world where everything is just uber complicated and more intimidating than it is empowering. So that was great. And the obvious next question that everybody had was, yeah, but I want this on my product page. I want this on my about page. I want this on my collection page. and that hasn't been an option until now. And so let's go ahead and jump into what that looks like. There are some new things you'll see here, and that is locked sections and then dynamic sections. So you can see we have a locked header and footer regions that have an announcement bar, and the header options, footer. And then in here you have your sections. Sections are now in a expandable system here, so more like an accordion, which is nice because it allows you to see the blocks you have within them without having to go into the section. So I could rearrange some of my blocks in that section without actually having to go into the section and then see the blocks. So a little helpful in the fact that it flattens the hierarchy, which will only speed up your time when developing. Not really a change in the way anything is coded or anything. It's more just it flattened the hierarchy visually for you. But let's go ahead and look at this. So if I jump to templates, now up here in this drop down, I'm given the templates available. So if I went into the default product here, you can see, wait, image banner at the top of my default product. That's crazy. Well, now we have the option of dragging and dropping, adding our sections right here in our product. And obviously this is huge. This is something that you guys have wanted for years. If you've been on Shopify for years. If you haven't been on Shopify for years, you've still probably wanted it for years, but you didn't even know it was a possibility of an option on the horizon. And so another thing that we want to showcase here and talk about is, you see again we have locked sections. So you might say, when looking at what I just did there, you say, hold the phone. I don't want the ability for someone to throw an image banner above my product form. Like, that should not be an option. One, I would totally agree. Although there are some scenarios where you just want a big old lifestyle image right at the top to really, give those, brand and stoke vibes. If it's a really cool, skiing shot, or whatever you sell, really cool shot, you might want it at the top there. But for the most part, you're going to say, hey, I don't want that product form to be jacked with. So you could lock this, and that's in the code. Something that we can do, we can put it up here in the header announcement bar region, so that, again, your movable regions are going to be post that, and then you can still keep all the editable sections within within the product itself. You see here, it goes all the way down to tons of stuff being drag and droppable within here that you guys have never had the option before. I mean, I can't imagine that we'd want the buy button at the top right after the brand, but given the options to adjust some items, some of this comes down to, a lot of times we get the question of, where's my little intro line going to go? So we have this little intro line here that's under the price. Where's that going to go? How do I want to do that? Some people like to put it right under the title. Some like to put it under the buy bar or under the add a cart button. And so you can really, again, these options can be set to be shown or not shown. You can also say, I don't want to show the brand. If everything is one brand, there's no reason to show it on everyone. And any of these blocks here can be added, collapsible tabs. So if you're saying, I really want to have a thing here that talks about returns or free shipping or whatever else, or a pop-up. So I wanted to make a pop-up to where someone could jump in and edit some pop-up items. You can edit all the pop-up text over here, select what page is actually going to pop up, so I could pop up my contact page. And so you have your pop-up link text here. It'll pop up your contact page. So much more of the, I forgot, I put in some fun copy here. Real mature, Scott, real mature. Classic presentation me right there. But yeah, so we're able to add items, remove blocks at any time. You can see you have your little editable panel over there, so you're able to flip through these things, edit all the items you want, show dynamic checkout buttons. And really it just brings a whole another level of functionality to your themes that you had somewhat already grown accustomed to on your homepage. When going in and editing that in your go-to-market materials and getting ready for a new campaign launch, you've always had those options. And then there's been a relatively restrict manner when it comes to editing your product pages, which, as we all know, now, and you've probably heard me just beat it into the ground, is We Creative is product page focused. That's your most valuable pages on your web page, so on your whole website, I guess. So why not put your most focus and concern there? And a lot of them have turned into more landing page style, where they're longer, there's lots of great content, whether that be user-generated content or or just big information that you have on technology, sustainability, brand story, all that really great stuff. So let's talk about how this works. Obviously, we have items here. We can add new items. We can add a collection list if we wanted to talk about collections. This is in whatever we wanted to get after there, right? So you get the idea. We can add sections. We can move sections. We can put them all over the place. So the question that comes up next is, okay, cool and all, but man, I have different stuff that I need to be showing or that I need to be talking about on every product under the sun on my website, or I'm wanting to do stuff that for different categories. So for shoes, I want to do this thing. For jackets, I want to do this thing. And so how do I manage that in the fact that Shopify doesn't have an area in the products for me to keep that information? So currently, you guys have always been putting all of that information in the customizer, and we've spun up theme template after template after template, and it works. But man, the customizer is slow, and it's not ideal because then you're having to do your theme templates all the time, and it's just not what we want. So another great thing here that we can look at is that, let's say this image banner here. Say we want an image banner associated with the product, and in this image banner we're going to put lifestyle images, and we want those lifestyle images to be ones that showcase the technology. Great, that's cool. There's going to be different ones for every product though, and how am I going to get those? Where do those come from? I can't just edit this page and add an image because I don't want that image on every one of my products. It doesn't make sense because then I'm showing a boots photograph when it comes to a jacket. And again, it goes back to like, wow, crap, am I in the same problem I had before? And the answer happily is no, you're not. And you'll see here over on the side that we have dynamic sources. And what dynamic sources are the ability for us to add all the additional items to a product that you guys might want. And again, this is going to run through Metafields. And the second feeling that comes along is like, Metafields, no, we're going to have to add on these Metafield editors. And then it's a whole process for us to like go in and go to the Metafield editor. I've got to go to the product, and then I got to click the drop down. I got to go to the Metafield editor, and then that workflow sucks. And we hear you and totally agree. But now Metafields are going to be integrated natively right into the product, not only in the editor when you're in the admin, but also if we wanted to bulk upload these items. If you had the images were coming from a CDN, which we'll talk about cool stuff when it comes to dynamic images in dynamic sources later. But this will allow you to add additional fields right in Shopify's editor. And that we'll look at this in a little bit on what that means and what your options are. But the options are essentially everything you've come to know and love in the customizer, now within the products, also going to be within your variants, and in future going to be in everywhere in Shopify. So this is great. So we could have a dynamic source. We can say this area is going to have an image. That image is defined in the product. And when you go forward, what we can see here is we're previewing a product, multi-currency product. So what you're able to do is you can set all your data up, come in here and now preview a few different products to say, okay, well, if I pulled this product, what's that image banner going to look like? Okay, now let me go pull a jacket product. What's that going to look like? So you can really quickly through here go and test your dynamic sources without having to go somewhere else. It's not like you're having to go boot them up, save it, and boot it up. You can do this with, obviously, you need to check these things before you're saving and publishing if this was a live theme. And you can, so you can test those out across multiple different products right there, which is fantastic. You can also jump to a preview link to go see it in a full browser if you didn't want to use this editor. So really, this is huge. Not only can we have dynamic layouts for all of our touch points in Shopify, our product pages, our collection pages, our standard pages, our contact pages. We can have dynamic layouts that can adjust as you guys see and need fit. We can make all the options in advance, and you guys can run and play and do what you want, which is what you've always wanted. And the homepage kind of set that expectation before, but then wasn't able to deliver in the other ones. But on top of that, now we're able to give those dynamic sources so you're not restricted to say, well, yeah, I get it, but my products are so vastly different that, yeah, you give me the option to drag and drop these sections, but what do I do in the fact that these have such different copy and everything else? So that's where the dynamic sources come in. There will be scenarios where you say, okay, I get it, dynamic sources is cool and all, but I don't want an image banner at all on, I don't even want anything in the resemblance of this layout on half of my products. In those cases, you can still make multiple templates. So you can see here what I did is when I went into products, it's going to load in the templates. We can see we have our default one, but we can create another template. So if we wanted to say, all right, dynamic, neat, whatever. Again, I need a new template that has nothing to do with that previous one. I'm able to spin it up right in here. So this is just awesome. If you think about previously when you're like, well, do I have to open the editor and go find the template thing? And now I'm copying and pasting and I'm trying, like, no. Like, again, we never really wanted you to have to do that. That was just the world that we were living in. So now you can say, cool, like default, fantastic, love it, it's great, whatever. But now I want to do, alternate. And I'm going to base it on the default because, it got me most of the way there. And you can go ahead and spin that up directly here, again, in your customizer. Now if I go here, you can see I'm going to have default. I have to save this, and then it'll put alternate in there. But now I'm able to say this one, it needs that image banner right up top because these have, sick images that go along with them and get people really amped. And so if I save this and let it reload, again, now I'm going to have my multiple templates. You can see it's assigned to 0 products, which is also helpful to know, like, okay, is alternate on a lot of them or not a lot of them? This is where you need to go in to your products and assign them. But you're able to very easily add your alternate options in here, both collections, for your products, pages, blogs, blog posts, cart, check out all this kind of stuff. Password pages, 404, I mean, you name it. It's quite exciting and yeah, really what you guys have been asking for a long time. So not to bury the lead by any means, Online Store 2.0, it's huge. Sections everywhere, it's huge. And this is really a game changer. And how does Wix see this? Well, this is honestly the reasons, items like this are the reasons that Wix creates with Shopify. We're able to build all of the awesome that we want. We're able to set it up in a way to where it empowers brands and businesses to go achieve what they want. It reduces barriers. As much as we can have the brands we work with involved in these processes, the better the outcome is for everyone. So this is really, it's huge. It's a very, very huge deal. What does it mean if your store doesn't have this and you want this? Well, that's a more complicated question. This is a complete structure change in Shopify. Your store as it exists today will continue to work. There's no sunsetting. You don't have to upgrade to this. But if you said, I need this in my life, one, I would agree with you. But two, what does it mean to migrate up? Well, it's going to depend on your site and on what the complexity of your site. And so those will be more one-on-one conversations on if there are opportunities to say, okay, well, I don't know that we need everything, but we do need these aspects. We'll talk with everyone individually who's interested in this and figure out how we can speed up the process to get everyone up to Online Store 2.0 that wants to be. It's something that we're going to be reducing our hourly rate for. We're going to promotion this to try to help get as many people up to this as possible, because we think it's something that we really want to bring to as many brands as possible, as soon as possible, because that'll only help you, increase revenue and all the rest of that, and that's what we're here to help with. So that is a more individualized conversation, but it is something that we are prepared to have now. We've gone through all the structure, and so it'll just be on a brand by brand basis on what it means per the complexity of your site. So unfortunately don't have and now package 2.0 is X amount of dollars. We don't really have that. Obviously everyone is different, which is not my favorite answer to give, but unfortunately it's the only answer that we have at this point. But talk to us and let us know, and we can work through this if it's something that is interesting and or you want to invest in. Again, your site as it stands today is not going to get sunsetted. You're fine. That you can keep living your life the way it is just fine, and there's no Wit Creative's not going to stop supporting Online Store 1.0. We don't have any plans to do anything like that. Shopify doesn't have any plans to do anything like that, and so there is no requirement to move to this unless it's just too enticing, and then you're going to have to live with that. You're going to have to live with that desire inside you until we push it up to 2.0. But definitely hit us up and we'll talk through that. So again, end of July is when they've said this functionality is going to be integrated into active stores. Again, we have it now on development stores. It's not going to go to active development stores. It has to be a new one that we spin up. But it is something we can actively develop on. It is something that you can launch with as of right now. It's not restricted. It's not on developer preview. It is active. So that's where we're at with Online Store 2.0. Let's go ahead and just jump over to, and I think I mentioned that this might be a 15-minute video. Obviously, that's 100% inaccurate. What are we at, like 20-something minutes? I'm just going to keep going. I'll put some notes in here. You can feel free to stop watching whenever. You might already have. But let's go ahead and look at what the metafields are. So again, when we were talking about that dynamic data, because the products are different, and again, we've in general tried to stay away from overly using metafields unless they were synced in, because it created such problems for clients in managing that data. It was hard to get to it. It created barriers. Again, we're all about how are we going to make this easier and not create more and more complexity when it wasn't needed. But now that we can bring this directly within, let's look at what that means. I'm going to go ahead and add something to my product page. Some of this stuff is a little confusing right now, namespace and key. Most of this is something that Wix would be setting up for you, but let's just say, for example, I wanted to upload a size chart image. And obviously different product types, different size charts, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to call this one size chart. And you can see here it's going to go ahead and make my field size chart. And description, I can just put whatever I feel my description should be. Upload a high-res size chart. You could give dimensions, whatever. You could do whatever you want there. And we're going to do select content type here. As we said, if it's an image, I'll just make it an image one. I mean, size chart probably should be an HTML table instead, but we'll get to that. That's not what we're after here. But I'm just going to go ahead and say it's going to be a file, and it must be under 20 megabytes. That's just Shopify limit, and we're only going to accept images because we don't want someone uploading a PDF because the PDF won't show. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. All right, I got a size chart. Sweet. It's pinned, which means it's going to be pinned at the top of the product content area. And let's just go ahead and jump over to this multi-currency product here. So if I scroll down, you'll see here now I have the option to add a size chart. I can select my image. I can upload an image in here and drop in a size chart right in the product. Right, so I'm able, and not only is this right here in the product, I can export this and get it as in my CSV or XLS or whatever I download. I can get that information directly in there. So there's no more hunting around to try to find this information. And we can add as many of these as we want. So again, if we were thinking back to how we were editing in the customizer, we could just have a section that says size chart, and then we give it the dynamic source of this Metafield size chart. And now products that have size charts are going to show a size chart directly from their product. So we're able to not only make the theme dynamic, but also make the content dynamic. And again, if we go back to the settings, Metafields, we can see that collections, customers, and orders are coming soon. Those Metafields are not available to us today. They are coming soon, but we do have products and variants. So in variants, I've put like Canada MSRP. So if I went back to that product and I went into one of these, doesn't matter what color, then you can see I have the option for the Canada MSRP to be right there within. So price books and price lists for customers are now available to be put directly into the editor here as well. So very exciting how this is able to visualize all that data forward to customers when it comes to not only just variant and product specific data, but also when it goes to internationalization and other things that we might be working on. So huge change there to have the Metafield to be bringing those forward. A note that I didn't really mention, but Online Store 2.0 brings a lot of new speed to your sites as well. A lot of this has to do with the fact that the data is now stored within each of the templates as opposed to a giant database. So you're getting a more specific response and feed from Shopify, and not only when you're working in the customizer, but also for the consumers, the speed is going to be quite a bit faster. I mean, Shopify's always been fast, but there have been some items that are a little bit slower, especially in the editor once you start to get a more complex site. That's going to be drastically reduced with 2.0. So very cool stuff there. Some of that we'll learn a little bit more complexities as we start to launch sites in 2.0. Some of those boots on the ground information will come with time, But as far as an understanding of the structure and what the structure means for speed, not only in admin but consumers, it's awesome. It's a big upgrade. So another thing that we wanted to get to here, so we've talked about Metafield, we've talked about 2.0 for the online store editor. The other deal that I wanted to talk through, one that I know is of interest to most everyone, is filters. So I swear we've been getting beaten over the head about filters in Shopify for probably the last half year. Rightfully so. The filtering in Shopify has been difficult at best. And Shopify's been aware of it, but we haven't, we've been waiting for upgrade on that. Now collections and search filters are going to be something that are baked right in to the online store navigation. So notice here there's a new section allowing you to add what filters you want, whether that be price, availability, product type, product brand. You can go in and say by color, by size. You can add your filters directly within your navigation. So these are new options that are available to us in Shopify, allow you to customize and build out your collection and search filters right in the admin. You don't have to add on some app that jacks up your collection page. You don't have to do any of that additional stuff. One note on this is it is still a little bit limited as it's coming out. We can't do it based on tags or anything like that yet. So if you had a tag of you wanted it to be by 100% recycled, and it's a tag that's whatever, called recycled. We can't do that yet natively in here. That is something that's been discussed and talked about as coming to the system. Again, those are going to be a little bit more fringe things. Most people are wanting it to do it based on product data, so this will cover most all of those. And it really is just a big upgrade to be able to have that natively within here. And also just because it's out and it's pushing now, is something that will continue to get added to and expanded upon. So really big point there. So we're getting down to nitty gritty smaller stuff, but another thing that we did want to talk about is GitHub integration. So how are we, there's been a lot of concern, rightfully so, about the number of themes and what is the most current version of code. And some of that has been quite difficult due to how everything syncs with GitHub and knowing, okay, well, these ones were changed and then someone needed to do this or that, and then now there's been 3 new themes spun up because everyone is working towards, well, we have a launch on Thursday, and then we have a launch the following Wednesday after that, and then we're taking away our 4th of July, but only part of it, so then there's another launch for that. And so it can get really complex really quickly just because of go-to-market schedules. As rightfully so, you need to be as flexible as possible. But managing code sets can be tough no matter what system you run. And so now you'll see here we have this directly integrated with GitHub. Not only that, but we can actually open up our integration logs. We can see all the different syncs, when it was last updated, which items have been committed. We can run through 219 items were committed, and you see it also goes through our theme checker that's in Shopify. So there were 0 warnings and 0 failed. So all the theme gets validated, checked, and this is base code for the site. So whenever you're running through, you can still be customizing and editing all the items you want in your customizer, and this is going to update your base theme code. So it's really nice. And there are some additional options to like reset to the last commit. So if someone did publish a commit and it's not really what you wanted, you can reset the theme at any time back to the most previous commit of this without having to go anywhere else. You don't have to go to GitHub. You don't have to do any of that. It's natively integrated in Shopify. Really awesome. This would actually take me over to the code base. And so just as far as it goes with theme management, code management, pushing new features and functionality in, and obviously you can set up multiple if you wanted to have a specific branch under Dawn for your devs. So this is the branch for main. If we wanted to set up another one that was for all the dev stuff, you can obviously connect multiple GitHubs. So we could have a theme here that was our main dev one, that's the dev branch, and then we have our production branch. So it's just really nice in being able to manage, and not only that, but being able to see the activity, the GitHub integration. And when we're thinking about this does mean that, if you have multiple sites and they're all running off a similar code set, they can all just be integrated in the same way. So those GitHub pushes will affect all sites. It can easily push out new theme code to multiple stores at once. It's just a really, really clean way. And it's going to be a big change when it comes to how are you managing your seasonal launches, your go-to-market campaigns, all the rest of that good stuff that really affects your day-to-day. Okay, so we're getting, again, down to the nitty-gritty. I do want to talk about a few specific things. What I'm going to talk here is about File API. So that's going to have to do with how do you integrate with your digital asset managers and your web dams, all those things out there. And also price lists and international pricing and the opportunities there. So if you don't care about those things, that's what the rest of this will be about. And I'm going to go ahead and jump into File API. So I think that I think it was released, and a lot of people said, "Well, I don't really know why I would care about this." We're here to tell you why you would care about this. First off, a lot of times there are a lot of files that we need to go along with a Shopify store, whether that be specific feeds that need to go out for ad purchasers, ad buyers, or feeds that need to go out for specific integrations with third-party services. And Wit Creative is always set up side SFTPs that coincide with the Shopify store. The reason we've done that is we need a place to store the files, and Shopify has not opened up the file system until now. So we weren't able to store those things in Shopify. We had to have somewhere else. Now we're going to be able to upload those files into Shopify. There will still be opportunities and times when we don't use that and we still want to use an SFTP at the current. Again, boots on the ground information that might phase out, but for now, we're going to be moving a lot of the files into Shopify files. The biggest point on this is a lot of times, you guys as brands are going to have obviously a whole design team. That design team is creating assets. They're putting them on some type of digital asset manager out there, and then your process as an e-commerce manager is you're having to go over there, find the most recent files. You have to download those files. You have to, then upload them back into Shopify, and then go into the customizer, and then find that image, and then put it as the header. And then you got to go get the mobile one, and then you got to take that, and it can be exhausting, right? And again, because we haven't had the opportunity to sync into files, you haven't had the option to do anything else. That was just life. Now with Files API being open, we can connect those digital asset managers directly into Shopify. What that would mean is that, let's just say you had a production ready folder on your digital asset manager. Anytime new assets were uploaded to that, those can be downloaded. Again, this is something that the Wit Creative would code for you, but it can be downloaded and then uploaded directly into Shopify, essentially the second that it happens. So then when you went into your customizer to pick a new image for the slideshow, all of those would already be there. So you wouldn't have to, someone on your team says, hey, new art for 4th of July sale is live, it's been approved, it's been uploaded to the web dam. You can just jump over to Shopify, open up the customizer, it'd be right there, ready to go for you. So seamless integration with your design team and your go-to-market assets. Again, no more of trying to go over to the webdam, find the file, blah, 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 all that other stuff. So being able to sync with those systems is going to be huge as far as we see for day-to-day management. Making sure that teams are always working with the up-to-date approved artwork, that it's syncing right in, that there's nothing, no downloading and uploading again. It's just a really huge and awesome opportunity that again can kind of get lost in the launch details of like Files API, and you're like, I don't know why, like who cares? But it actually is really cool and has a lot of opportunities for us to really tie in all of the asset management and the day-to-day workflow. All right, last one, I'm going to talk about price lists. So there's not a ton I can show on price lists, to be honest, because it's somewhat hidden in the background. As you saw on that variant, I had Canada MSRP. That's something that Wix Creative is building. Shopify's price lists are not natively viewable in your admin right now. And we don't have any notes on when that may or may not change, but for right now, it's not visible within your admin. What we're going to do is we're going to build we're building an app that's going to use those metafields, and it's just going to sync the two, so that you will have visibility for your price books as a temporary solution while we wait for the bigger solution to come. But what we can do is I can go ahead and grab this and export it. We have a few different currencies rolled up here for this site. I'll download this, jump over here, pop it in, and look at what this file looks like. So now when I open this in any type of spreadsheet program, I'm going to do this. We'll notice here that I have my price for AD. I think that's Andorra, maybe. And I compare our price. So you'll notice now my sheet has all of my price lists right here in my export and import directly from Shopify. So this is a little different. A lot of you guys that maybe have price lists with Wix Creative, those are relatively similar to what you see here. But those have been additional things that Wix Creative has coded outside of and on top of Shopify. These now are natively in Shopify. It's not an additional thing to have to go have Wix Creative spin up. This is in Shopify, and this is active for all stores right now. This isn't coming in late July. This is active right now. And there are a lot of things that this actually pertains to from why this would be interesting. Some interesting stuff is that let's talk about why I guess this might be cooler than what Wix has. This might be cooler than what Wix has because let's say a lot of our clients and brands would be sending us price or tax inclusive prices for a region, which is fine. It's great. So if someone was buying something from Germany, the price already includes tax. But let's say you didn't have that, and or your taxes are fluctuating. All of EU feels like it's fluctuating every day. I know that's not true. It certainly is right now with Brexit. But say the taxes are fluctuating and you wanted to be able to be more flexible, and you didn't want that to mean that you had to send tax inclusive prices every time that you needed to update something. You know what your costs are and what your MSRP should be. And then you want the tax price to be added on to that. So with Shopify now in the price books, what you can do is you can actually have in your taxes that you're going to include or exclude it based on the country. So let's say in US, they're all tax excluded prices. That's the way the US works. But your German, you wanted that to be tax inclusive prices. But let's say that your price list was all your MSRPs. Well, that gets difficult now. Well, previously it got difficult, right? Because you were like, well, gosh, I have to like do all these things based on different taxes in different countries, and now all my prices are either inclusive or exclusive. But managing that can be a nightmare. What you can do now in Shopify is your price list can all be your standard MSRPs. And then per country, Shopify is going to add that into the price based on tax laws. So if it needs to be on the product page, everything else, Shopify will add that. And you can edit it all yourself directly in the admin. So you can say, Germany, I want it inclusive. Switzerland, I don't want it inclusive. That's not something you do, but let's just say you did. So you can manage those prices. And why this matters is, again, we have dynamic customer experiences. So a customer might be switching between countries. They might say, well, I'm in Germany right now, but I'm buying this product for Switzerland. I'm having it shipped to the hotel because when I get there, it'll be waiting for me for my ski trip. And so understanding those tax implications and how it affects your prices. And then on top of that, to be able to be dynamic to the consumer's experience, it's just huge opportunities there as far as really making sure that you're dialing in not only your taxes, but just your price representation to consumers at every point. So again, that's something that WIC hasn't been able to offer. Currently, it's been deliver your tax inclusive prices, and that's the price. And again, that's not a bad system. It still works just fine, but it's just less flexible. And so really when we're looking at increasing flexibility, these new price lists and price books native in Shopify are going to help a ton. And again, the fact that we can extend those to the Metafields so that you can see and edit them natively is huge. Again, depending on your brand, you might not want that because you say, well, ours are all synced every 20 minutes from the ERP and I don't want someone touching them. Totally fine, I get it. We don't have to extend it to the front end. But if that's not your case and you need that flexibility, you'll now be able to have it. And just big stuff there, really, as far as pricing goes, internationalization goes. And WIC Creative will continue to always push towards single site, multi-region. We really think that is the future of commerce. Again, that reduces complexity and that increases the increases the speed of iterating on a website. So the more that we can kind of push innovation and create less roadblocks for innovation is going to be the route that we go for. And we think single site, multi-region is the future there. Shopify is definitely coming alongside that with multiple languages, multiple currencies, multiple regions, and the definitions behind that. And the thing I didn't mention earlier that is worth mentioning is you saw there that the prices are not currency based, they are country based, which is also fantastic because in past the discussion was it was going to be currency based, but a lot of our brands had different map agreements per country. Which made it difficult. If it was all EU, was one price list. Well, that didn't help us when there were specific map agreements. So that's a cool thing to note too, is that these price lists are country based, not currency based. So if you do have, 3 different licensors and agreements that have been made when it comes to your minimum advertised price, you can facilitate that. You don't have to say, well, we've got to pick one and there's going to be 2 upset people. You can do it, again, it's per region. So if you went down to like per, had 4 different regions in one country, there's not going to be a way to really facilitate that. But currently, it is per country, which is what most people come to us requesting. So that is my wrap up. That 15 minutes turned into 50 minutes. Maybe that's did I say 50 minutes or 15 minutes? A lot to talk about. If you stuck with me through this whole thing, congrats. I hope you had a good coffee. I could use one right now. My voice is running out of steam. But thanks for going through this with me. I hope you guys are excited or as excited or close to as excited about this as WIC is. We think that this is going to be huge. It's what we've been wanting for multiple years, and the future of commerce on Shopify is getting. It's always been exciting. It's getting more exciting now, and thinking about how we can really make these dynamic stores that facilitate empowering day-to-day integration and work with our brands. I mean, to be able to see an opportunity and pivot so quickly without the barrier of having to come back and ask for everything to be done for you. The fact that Wick can focus on building these fantastic tools, and you can focus on pushing those out and leveraging those to your customers when you want to, and reducing all of those go-to-market times. It's really it's huge. It's a huge opportunity. It's very exciting. And thanks again for listening. Thanks again for working with Wick, putting your trust in Wick. We don't take that lightly. And we really appreciate everyone's time and concerns, and feel free again to send us any and all messages. We are pretty much only nerding out on this for the next good long while. So we would love to hear any questions that you guys have, and if we don't know the answer, we will go find the answer, or we'll take our red hot poker and reach over and jab someone at Shopify with it. But and if you're at Shopify and you're listening and watching this, sorry, but also, I mean, come on, Wick Creative, you're used to it. So thanks everyone. Hope you have an awesome 4th of July weekend, and that you don't forget everything that I've said here, but forget a good bit of it, and go have fun. But thanks again, everyone, and really appreciate your time. Bye-bye.